And I will tell you that I realized what a new, different woman I am after 7 hours of sleep. Have a whole different perspective. It will change your lens.
One of Nietzsche's claims was that most of what passes for morality is nothing but cowardice. You know, I'd never cheat on my wife. It's like, is there anybody asking you to that you actually find attractive? Or are there dozens of people asking you to that you find attractive? It's like, well, I would never cheat. It's like, no, you just don't have the opportunity.
So there's an intensity there, but having so much pressure and so much at stake, when it goes away, it's definitely leaves a hollow, empty space inside.
But I'd rather just tell somebody than just like pretend. But I'm like, dude, you're not really working hard enough. Like, I feel like I worked harder in like a year than you have in like 15.
Yeah.
Not to be, but it's like, how bad do you really want it? And I think if people really want it and can take a L and look at it, like, it's a pretty sick country and there's so much opportunity. So,
and I understand as a guy that was looking for conversations, it's fortunate that I fell upon School of Life and Jordan Peterson conversations with you, as opposed to that community, because both of them would have given me the same sort of influence, the same kind of satisfaction, but long-term would have given me incredibly different outcomes.
And so I remember I was like, I'll go with you, dude. And it's a tiny act where that sacrifice gains respect from the whole group because that micro benefits everybody else for not having to go through it. And so when you are in a new organization, this is the operation for respect. You sacrifice yourself in a way that benefits the whole, in a way that is visible. You know,
it's like, I think I get up in the morning and there's like this narrow path, and on either side it's just like whoosh, down to no productivity, nothing useful in life. And one side is drama, other people's drama.
Yeah.
And the other side is just numbing out.
Yeah.
And you got to walk this really narrow path.
That's exactly, like the days you don't want to work out, those are the most important days. Even if you do less, the mental victory there, in my mind at least, and I'm not an expert in any of this, far outweighs any of the physical aspect. It's the fact that you did and you didn't want to. If you stack that up over a lifetime, you're going to blow people away with what you can accomplish.
That's who we are. We are an alcohol.
We allowed ourselves to become that.
Yes.
We could stop from coming at just like we learned Alcoholics Anonymous.
Yeah.
So we can learn from that. So that's why they learned from that. So now it's not hopeless anymore.
Right.
The worst thing that could ever happen to any human being is they become civilized. It's that total accountability. Like even when you retire, there's a mother looking at me and judging me right now, man. I was the baddest person to ever live. It doesn't go away, man. You gotta wake up, even though you retired, you never retired.
Generally, what I did with them was get them to take more days off. They couldn't work shorter days, but they could plan 4-day weekends 2 months in advance. And they could do that every 2 months. And inevitably, if they did that, the number of billable hours they produced went up, not down. So they maybe doubled their vacation time and increased their productivity. So
I don't visualize how successful it is. I don't visualize it being the best thing I've ever done. I visualize how I want to show up, what energy I want to walk in with. Because I find what you're doing is almost a dress rehearsal in your mind. But you don't get to do that in life.
He had all the trappings. He had everything. He's like, I like it better like this. Like a backpack.
And maybe the key word there was trappings.
Yeah.
You know, maybe he somehow built all these things around him that ended up making him feel trapped.
They don't want misogyny. They don't want abuse. They don't want all those awful things that come with it. They don't want people that have a genuine disdain for women. But traditionally, masculinity was always like having a respect for women, having a respect for your mother, having respect, being a protector and a provider.
Yes, but then in the moment that you have to make the trade, all of a sudden your priorities change because the mode of the operations have changed.
Yeah. And the long-term benefit of what will happen to your life if you become the sort of person who gets up early is also in future.
Mm-hmm. And if you do it a few times in a row, then you tell yourself, I am the type of person who does this.
I don't want another strike against me of people somehow thinking I'm weak. You know, or I'm fragile, whereas now I look at it as like, well, actually, I feel like I showed a lot of resources and strength and grit, mental and physical. You know, teaching yourself to walk again
or lift your arms or whatever, that takes strength. And
It's like you're fighting. I can't punch back when I gotta avoid. And then 2 rounds go by and you say, whoa, I'm not in shape. I'm hitting the bag 6 rounds. I'm doing this 3, 5 rounds, 6 rounds. I'm jumping rope. And then I do 2 rounds with somebody. It's a whole different psychological preparation. And
I'm fat and I'm insecure. You have to face that in that dark room. In that dark room is who you are. But in that dark room is where you have to create another human being that walks out of that dark room to face who you are. That's the only way you're gonna get over all those things.
Because what you're looking for, you're looking for improvement, but you're looking for sustainable improvement. And so if you push yourself too hard, you destroy the sustainability across time. And you want that sustainability there. So you can't push yourself any farther than you're capable of going in the long run.
Presuming that you like the things you do and you want to keep doing them, the less robust and flexible you are, the more likely you are to break in those ways. And I think that humor is a lovely bit of ballast that helps to balance that out.
And we formed a brotherhood that, you know, to this day, I don't think it'll ever be replaced. And you can see why, you know, these stories of war stand the test of time. I mean,
because as soon as you do that, you agree to adopt wholesale all of the views of the group. And as soon as you begin to deviate, that's seen as a lack of commitment by your side and a chink in your armor by the other side. So it doesn't allow you to be a person. It doesn't allow you to fit into the very unique shape that your life is supposed to take.
Everyone can get motivated for a moment. It's just like people feel motivated, but like motivation is incredibly ephemeral, right? It vanishes. And that's why creating the conditions that make failure less likely is so important, because if we can make successful actions the most likely actions, success becomes the most likely outcome.
How many times have you said, once I do this, I deserve rest? Once I do this, then I'll allow myself to take a break. Rest isn't a reward. Rest is a requirement.
Listen, Alexander the Great was 32 and he conquered the known world.
Yeah.
In 10 years.
And so thinking about that as a young man.
Absolutely. I want my preeminence to rival the times that you know, in the sands of time. It's not.
And you have to first be uncomfortable with how you feel about yourself. With that voice that a lot of us like to run away from, we all have it. We all have that voice that say, hey man, you know, you're kind of wimping out right now. You're kind of being a little punk right now. But a lot of us say, okay, that's okay. It's okay to tell these little white lies to ourselves. So we first have to face the real you.
Nobody tried to prove they were right. They put forward their points, but they were like, here's a way of looking at that. Assess it. And they were also doing it genuinely. It's like, this is what I've concluded about, say, this story. And I'm going to make a case for it, but I'd like to hear what you have to say, because maybe you can change it. You can.
How do you get muscles? You lift heavy. Okay? Like how do you be able to run 20 miles? You start trying to run. All right? You got to understand that your discipline is a skill set that has to be cultivated and trained in order for it to work.
it's not about lives, but it's about livelihoods. Right. And you've got people that are relying on you to succeed and win. And again, sure, you get killed in combat. That's obviously the worst thing that can happen. But if you lose your job, or your people lose their jobs, I mean, people kill themselves all the time when they make bad business decisions. It's that much pressure.
But then you get someone who has all the things, and that's how you get a Michael Jordan. You get someone who has physical talent, genetic gifts, the mind for it, discipline, consistent work ethic, and then you get greatness.
Unspoken expectations are premeditated resentments. Like, why didn't you do this thing that I didn't tell you to do?
Yeah, probably not deliberately, because I think a lot of people do it not on purpose.
Of course, but it's unconscious premeditated resentment. Yeah. The investment that you are making will be a resentment in future that you aren't aware is about to come about.
Yeah.
And when it comes to eating a burger, trust me, I want to eat a burger all the time. And I have to remind myself, but I know how it's going to feel after. And so it's almost like you've got to connect your brain to the after feeling.
Absolutely.
Because the after feeling is so much more what you have to live with, because the feeling before kind of comes and goes.
That's one of the things about life, is that life is so short.
Oh, a twinkle of an eye.
Goes well.
Twinkle of an eye.
If everything goes well, you live 100 years. But that is nothing in terms of the life of the planet.
You know, every day you have to do this shit. Because why? When you stop doing it, you don't just maintain it. If you stop shooting a gun, you're not gonna be a great shot if you pick a gun up a year from now. The only way to keep from getting rusty is to constantly oil that motherfucking machine. The machine is this. You gotta keep challenging it every day.
You can easily and unfortunately find yourself in a situation where all you have in front of you are a variety of bad options. You know, that's partly why, if you have any sense, you try to conduct yourself very carefully in life, because you don't want to be in a position where you've made so many mistakes that all the options left to you are terrible.
Because I don't want to just listen and to hear them. I want to be curious.
Yep.
Then, if I get to that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to learn from that curiosity about a different perspective that I don't see.
It happens in business where I see a guy that he's taking care of himself. And you know, it's a smart guy, and he usually thinks he's pretty smart, and usually thinks he's a little bit smarter than everybody else, and usually thinks that no one else is gonna notice that he's taking care of himself. And everybody sees it. And they dig themselves a grave.
You do not need to chase down the things that your local area is telling you that you need to. And this is what I think you create online. You know, the people that you consume, the people that you read, the people that you listen to, they become your new community.
Yes.
They become the new good influence that you always wanted.
But I think once you have a very clear path to getting what you want, it's like, okay, how do I remove everything that prevents me from getting it? Not in a self-aggrandizing way. I am flawed too, but I'm just saying, it helps.
It is true that more dreams are destroyed by distraction than incompetence.
But the main thing I have is belief in myself. So I always think, if I do things right, and I take people to do things right, and I help them to do things right as a team, we still have a chance of pushing ourselves into positions we want to be.
And it's not about money, because the money's going to be in charity, and people going to, and it's just about doing something good. And that, from that perspective, that could be, I used to like feeling like I'm doing something good for somebody more than myself.
I go up there, and God looks at me, and he shows me my chart. And my chart on there says, you were supposed to be a Navy SEAL. You're supposed to weigh 185 pounds. You're supposed to be one of the smartest people on the planet, this, all this. You see this. And now you're in heaven, you made it to heaven, but you're like, God, Doug, I was supposed to live that life.
But you don't know what burdens the people you're jealous of are carrying. So leave it be. It's not helpful to you to be envious.
I often tell people that we don't know the price that you need to pay to be the people that you admire.
Well, pause. Are you doing something bad? Are you doing something morally wrong in this moment? Absolutely not. You are just choosing to make your own decision, and your friends disagree, but you're not doing something morally wrong.
But ultimately, people don't want to work with that person. And so they burn their relationships, and they don't do as well as they should. And which is the kind of nice thing, is if you take care of other people, they'll take care of you. If you screw over other people, you're going to get screwed over.
I think when their life is not going well and their chosen career is not going well, they concentrate on other things to distract them instead of focusing on the very thing itself. And they think that they're justified in doing that because those things are really important.
It's like we have determined that feeling bad is bad, but feeling bad is not bad. Feeling bad is a signal so that we need to change. Because if no one feels bad ever, then it means that everyone is doing what they want to do all the time, and that is not how a functioning society works. Sometimes people do stupid shit and need to know and feel bad for it.
Which is, if you're driven by the metric, then you will find ways to drive the metric. But if you are driven to create authenticity and to create value and offer people something, money is the unintended byproduct of being part of something larger than yourself.
It's like the very thing that made you special could fuck you in the real world.
The real world, guys like that go to prison. They don't exist in the real world. They gotta take them out of there.
My life was taken from me. The one thing that kept me going was my training.
Now you didn't have that.
I didn't have anything.
Now you just had to sit alone. And not train.
And that's what changed me. And that's when I realized I hadn't taken time to think about what I'd done in my life.
You worked hard, but you get laid off. Well, people who are conscientious will tear themselves into pieces with guilt in that situation because they tend to attribute so much responsibility to themselves. And so there's a price to be paid for conscientiousness. It opens you up to a certain set of vulnerabilities.
He said, surgery is 30% of your journey, and your surgery went exceptionally well. I did a great job. You got great tissue in there, joints very healthy. He said, 70% is going to be how dedicated you are to your post-operative rehab.
And by the way, if I have to yell at somebody, what does that say? That means if I have to yell at you to get my point across as a leader, I've made like 47 other mistakes. My goal is that I don't even have to say anything. That's my goal as a leader. My goal is I don't have to say a word, and you already know what to do, and you make it happen. And I look at you and give you a thumbs up and say, good job. That's my goal.
I try to just enjoy what I'm doing while I'm doing it. And I don't think too much about whether or not I'm going to be able to do something forever. I just think, am I doing it now? Am I enjoying it now? Great.
And so that means that the gap between what we have and what we want is typically not a lack of information, but a lack of execution. And so if it's a lack of execution, then it ladders up to what are the motivating operations that are either preventing me from doing it or that are insufficient to compel me.
When I talk to somebody who has given me advice on life, okay, and here's what I think you should do with your six-pack, to get a six-pack. First thing I want to do is what? Pull up your shirt. Yeah, I'm not taking advice from you on six-pack. Okay?
Gotcha.
Yeah, here's the advice on how to create wealth. Okay, show me how much money.
Greatness is being so aware of the time of life in the second that went by, and you can recall like it was yesterday. Greatness is being able to go back there, not making that same mistake again, and being haunted by it. That is greatness.
How do you do things that you don't feel like doing? All this is to say is that behavioral change is primarily an emotional problem, not a rational problem. The information is the easy part.
And we're dealing with probably the worst mental health crisis the world has ever seen as a generation. So it turns out freedom doesn't just mean having the ability to do whatever you want. It's the process to do what you should and have the discernment in your own life to make conscious, important, very consequential decisions to set yourself up for a life of purpose and meaning and joy.
You can do a lot of the hard work of healing. Really get back in your body, really explore your sense of self, your authentic self, connect in other healthy relationships. Armed with that, when circumstances line up that you may have to be in contact with that person again, you're in a much different position to do so, much more from a place of agency.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest myths is that you always need to lift heavy to put on muscle mass. And world-renowned researchers in this area have clearly shown now that lighter weights perform to a lot of effort, almost to fatigue. If done correctly, you can get the same increases in muscle mass as then compared to lifting heavy weights.
A lot of this is tapping into a sense of self-trust. Like, hey, my desires are legitimate. I'm allowed to want what I want, and I'm allowed to not like something that doesn't make me feel good and that I don't like.
But the ancient Egyptians always understood how frail human beings are, and that we can always make mistakes. The question is, what do we do when we make a mistake? Do we learn from it, or do we keep on repeating it?
Somebody at least said it to you one time. Joe, come on, man. Cosby, you're never going to, what do you think? You're going to be on HBO with Richard Pryor and George Carlin? You laugh, but you're like, they're kind of right. They were wrong. We didn't know it. We just didn't know it.
Well, so what is life really about? Yeah, it's about who do you become in the process of achieving. I'm a great believer that the two organizing principles around setting goals are as follows. Firstly, if you have any idea how you can achieve the goals you set when you set them, they're too small.
You need culture drivers on a team. And culture is about values. What values does Gary have? What values does Ian have? What values does Roy have? Are your values work ethic, preparation, caring about your teammates, discipline? If you have those values, and you have all of us, well, that creates a culture.
Like if you're in a cage fight and you elbow someone in the face, it's not because you're a bad person.
You have to.
That's
your job.
That's the game we're playing.
If you don't do it, you're letting yourself down. You've got to go in and fight. Yeah.
You know, give me what you got, even if you don't think it's good enough, even if you think it's a stupid idea, even if you think give me what you got. The power of that, I saw over and over at NASA. It's not just one type of mind, not just one person that's going to solve the problem.
But we're just seeing their highlights. We're just seeing the bits and pieces they give us. And then we're trying to keep up with it and model ourselves after it. And we don't know the cost. We don't know the price they're paying. We don't know the lack of peace they have or the lack of sleep they have. We don't know what their family life is like, but we're trying to match it. And it's costing us in ways that we have never anticipated.
Because if you had to find the one, that means you were done the moment you found that person. And that mindset creates such a fracture with reality, which is, wait a minute, you're going to have to create and build, using your words, create and build every 5, 10, 15, 20 years. It's never going to stop.
And that requires discipline.
But forgiving is not forgetting. We don't want to forget what this person's capable of doing. We can forgive it, but if we also forget it, then we're being pathologically kind of going right back into the storm, expecting that we're going to have the sun come out.
But when you do lose somebody and you're by yourself, you're in the car, you're driving back, you get the news, you've already gone to the funeral, you've already done all that stuff, and you're like, what could I have done? That's a weight you don't want to carry.
I want to show them firsthand what I do. And, more so that if you dedicate yourself to a goal and a task and put your all in it, that you receive this. You receive what I will receive on the night. And inspire them, hopefully, and encourage them to go and chase their dreams.
I used to do something back when I was playing, in the 2000s, early 2000s, mid 2000s, around my sports goals. I would write like a certificate of accomplishment, and then I would sign it and date it of like, you have accomplished this, this, and this, signed by me. And I put it on my wall as a little visual representation that in a year or 6 months or 2 years, this is what I'm going to create. And it just reminded me, looking at it on my wall every single day, this is a certificate. Your future self has created this. Now you need to go and take the actions to make it happen.
Les Brown, develop your mind. You don't get in life what you want, you get in life what you are. Number 2, practice OQP. Only quality people. You run around with 9 broke people, guarantee you'll become number 10. And 3, develop your communication skills, because once you open your mouth, you tell the world who you are.
Start off with 15 minutes, do a stress reset. It resets your shoulders, your hips, your back, your spine, your neck. Your whole nervous system gets reset in that first 15 minutes. If that works for you, do it again.
Yeah, the next day.
And if it works for you, do it again and again. And what we found is that when we add just that into everybody's routine, things change very fast. And
forget about the rest and just think about, how do you want to feel when your head hits the pillow tonight? Did you live up to a promise that you made to yourself, or did you let yourself down? What was the one contrary action you took that you couldn't take yesterday that you did today? And allow yourself to feel good about that. And then tomorrow, we wake up and we go.
But even back then, it was like you were doing porn or something, or snuff films, or you were doing something that was damaging for your career. And people would look at you like, why you're working for a cage fighting organization? Why would you do that? Cut to 25 years later, it's on the lawn of the White House, and it is one of the most watched sporting events in the history of the world.
Yeah. And my goal is yes, you can strive, you can want to succeed, and you can succeed, and you can achieve, and you can do it in a smart enough way that you're actually doing better there and still living your life well outside of work. So it's really about having both. It's not about one over the other. It's not about, don't work so hard, have a better life. It's about do better in both. And they're highly related.
I would say complete humility. As soon as you know how great you are, there's no reason to be arrogant at all. Because Any arrogance is recognizing that's a failure to recognize who you are. So greatness, recognizing your own greatness, is to realize that every other person is your equal.
Don't let it get to you, because if you focus on how stressed out you are, it's certainly not going to help you. It can motivate you to make a plan for how to manage your current situation, but if you're just upset, that's not a useful emotion to have, being upset.
And it's just your reaction to things that you don't like, that you wish were different, that you have no control over.
See, here's the key. If you want your life to have no meaning, make sure that there's no boredom moment to moment, but that day to day and week to week and month to month, life is boring. That's what you're actually going for. As opposed, if you want your life to be really meaningful, make sure you got plenty of boredom moment to moment, and then your life won't be boring at all.
That's a strange paradox.
What do you want? Make sure that you are living your life and prosecuting your life around the things that are going to matter to you. So early on in our lives, especially in our 20s and our 30s and our 40s, we're prosecuting an agenda. Oh, I need to have a career, or I need to be successful in my career, or I need to go work at these 3 or 4 companies, really being influenced by somebody else's report card. Never really stopping to ask ourselves, what's going to bring me joy?
If he doesn't ask for your phone number, you ask for his. If he doesn't call, you call. Because when you take the initiative like that, you have exercised veto power. Veto power, you've exercised what I call original choice power. You've made the original choice of who you want.
You send people out in the world and to do the thing for real. You're worried about getting rejected. Go out and start asking people for help, and you'll learn that your fear is misplaced, that you get accepted more often than you might guess.
I think it's important to realize that the dopamine that you feel when you look into someone's eyes, like the endorphins, the touch, like holding hands, like these are important feelings, and they're important things for humans. And so we should try to take time to have relationships in real life and do things with people and put our phones away and enjoy the time with them.
I think sometimes people do that to almost like save themselves from heartbreak sometimes. You kind of like wreck it yourself.
So it's like making fun of yourself before anyone else can.
When I wake up, how I woke up was intentional. Not on the phone. Not on the phone. And I'm breathing things. I'm letting, that inner wisdom just kind of flow me through the day. You know what I mean? I'm on track. When it's like that, it's hard to surprise me because I've been paying attention to everything.
But did you hear a decision? I didn't hear a decision. I heard somebody who wants to change. But I didn't hear a person who has made a decision to change. And it's a very subtle distinction. But this is the difference between staying stuck and spinning your wheels in a mental loop and getting yourself unstuck and breaking free and making a decision to create a whole new chapter in your life.
You've earned it through decades and decades of work, of being curious, of being fair, of being positive, of caring. And now people want to come on and share their thoughts with you. That gives you a platform. You've the most powerful voice probably in the world at sometimes. And so you get invited to the White House. And
you don't have to, but you should want a bigger life than the one you actually think you want, because everybody's heard that saying, shoot for the moon and you'll land among the stars. There's a lot of truth to that. All right, you may not actually get to that big goal, but you might get 80% there. So you need to make sure that that goal is so big that if you only get to the 80%, it's awesome.
But what if we'll call it what it is, either the lack of discipline or the laziness in the moment changes the trajectory of your life, because you apply that to everything in your life, because that's how you start your day and how you end your day.
And so I started working out consistently because I could see why it helped me reach my goals, not her goals. And I think often when we're encouraging our partners to do something, we're like, well, if you meditated, you'd be calm like me. And they're like, well, you're not calm right now, so I don't even believe you.
The distance between how you want to be seen or how people see you and who you are when no one's watching that performance that we are all living in, that's a measurement of shame.
How'd she become a great mother? By saying I'm doing the opposite of what that bitch did. There's value to that, of going, this sucked, I don't know how to do this, but if I just do the opposite.
Dude.
Please stop making excuses for them in your mind. Don't forget how small they made you feel. Don't forget they had every chance to choose you.
And so back to your question, self-talk. I go, you know what, Mark? Let's get it going. This is the time to lead, and people don't pay for average, and people do not ask for trouble.
Right.
But what people don't always realize, the pain of not abandoning, not silencing, not suppressing yourself, okay? You would say that, why would those things be painful? Because my gosh, your true self, that's some dangerous stuff. You've been told, how dare you? How dare you is very much a connective tissue in a toxic relationship.
So, do you know what you're feeling? Do you know why you're feeling that way? Do you know what you want in this situation, in the next situation, in life in general? Do you know what you don't want? How much space do you give yourself to really ask yourself the hard questions or the fun questions and learn the answers?
All it's done for me is made me clearer on my principles and what I believe.
Yeah.
And I'm actually really thankful for that in a weird way.
Yeah.
Because you're forced to, when you hear so many things said about you, written about you, whatever, it does focus one mind on, okay, like, who am I?
Yeah.
And what matters? What am I?
For us, it was like we saw too many people make it like this. Like one day they had nothing, and the next day they're on CBS fucking doing a show for 8 years. Whether it's Kevin or whether it's fucking the other guy, the great guy from Pittsburgh. You've seen that, so it gives you hope.
So why do the dogs run? They run because they're chasing a mechanical rabbit. The question is, do they ever catch the rabbit? No. What if they run really fast?
No. They just speed up the rabbit.
Speed up the rabbit. What if they have a better trainer?
Speed up the rabbit still, yeah.
Sleep in a better kennel? I mean, it's no, right? So the reason the dogs don't catch the rabbit is because by design, they can never catch the rabbit.
I always felt like on our teams, we had really good plans. Now, we weren't right all the time. We were right more than basically anybody else. Tactically, we were better on offense and defense than 95% of the time. So, and if our execution was up to the standards of our tactics, we would win.
That's right. And that's the issue, is we focus on the exception, not the norm, right? Like Mark Zuckerberg dropped out of college, started Facebook, and he famously said young people are just smarter. He said that when he was 22. You don't hear him saying that anymore, surprisingly, right? So I think it's not too late for you to take risks.
Do you really want to win? Because winning has a cost. Winning requires discipline. Winning requires consistency. Winning requires a willingness to go all in.
You don't want to be swimming like a goldfish in a tiny little bowl. You want to think more broadly, and you want to start to consider how you're investing in behaviors and decisions that are actually going to drive your life in the direction that you want, so that you don't feel despairing, that you don't feel alone, and that you don't feel like your life is lacking meaning and purpose.
There are studies that show that if you are really stressed out, somebody is really stressed out, and at work, their partner will lose he or her sex drive. In other words, that's how much this crosses over. We think we kind of keep it to ourselves, but these things have an impact, because again, we are not able to just kind of, flip a switch and turn ourselves off and be present like.
And you can smile at them in the same way that if you look back at your 5-year-old child in the sandbox and how their world fell apart when someone stole their toy, and you realize, I completely fell apart, and that was so important to me, and it was trivial. It was absolutely trivial.
Believe that you're going to get to a place where you truly believe that nobody cares how you look, and you love the person that you are regardless of how you actually look. So yeah, just do the right thing and believe that it'll get you to a place that you want to be.
But something's going to happen today. I'm going to get a phone call or a text or an email that I'm not going to like. Bring it on. I'm grateful for that too. Because when I lean into that, then I'm going to be fully alive. That's the moment that I'm going to be fully alive. And that attitude of non-resistance to pain will actually lower the suffering paradoxically as it raises the meaning in life.
And I said, let me help you with something. You can do anything. So it's not about what you could do. Tell me what you want to do. And that's how I know it's such a tough thing for people to get to, because most of us haven't thought about that for a long time, if ever.
If he doesn't ask for your phone number, you ask for his. If he doesn't call, you call. Because when you take the initiative like that, you have exercised veto power. Veto power, you've exercised what I call original choice power. You've made the original choice of who you want, and therefore you're more likely to get the type of man that really vibes for you.